now we will see some ethical principles. So what are these principles? Okay, principles means these are the basic truth that form the these are the actual fundamental truths that form the basis for some behaviors. Okay, that anyway we will see this definition here, no need to worry. See what is the meaning of that here, why we are dealing this. See, so far what we have seen how to identify the ethics of any action. Okay, for identifying that, every time you need to go into details, like and we need to evaluate whether it is ethically feasible or not, whether it is ethically right or not. But instead of that, if you know some of the principle like this, then these are straight away you can say that okay, these are the ethical. If you are following this, then you can say that the particular person is following the ethics. Okay, like that. And what are these? There are so many, but we have chosen some of these. So first one is the honesty. So how to define honesty? Generally we cannot define honesty, but we will define the opposite of honesty, that is the deceive. Okay, deceive is not a honesty. So what is the deception? Deception is lying, half truth and silence. See, why half truth and silence also came under deception? Of course we know lying is anyway not honesty, that is a deception. Then half truth means if someone is in the very great danger, and if you tell the truth, then if you can survive that fellow, but still by saying only half truth, a lot of great damage can be happen to that person. And even the silence also. Silence means here what happened? Silence also deception. Deception means if someone is stealing something from the office, or someone is lying about someone, or someone is saying some bad about some other fellow on his back, then by keeping calm or simply keeping silence also, what we call that, this is also not honesty, that is also comes deception. Actually there was a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna says that I don't know, but I'm trying to make some, I don't know exactly, but I could, as far as I can recollect, Arjuna asked, Karna is a good human being, then why we need to punish him? Then Krishna says that it is not about his goodness, but it is about his companionship. Okay, so he is with Duryodhana, but still he is not saying his actions are wrong. He is keeping silent, Karna. So that is why he also need to face the consequences. Okay, because he is deceiving. Okay, so that is why half truth silent also comes under deception. So don't think that if I say only half truth, then don't think that this is a half honesty. That is also full honesty. So what is the meaning of honesty? If you are honesty, if you are saying whatever you are doing, then that is a honesty here. Then it will increase the trust between the people or on you. Okay, that is the one of the principles. And the next one is the doing no harm. Okay, how you do the harm? Of course we know the physically, that will give pain, and other one is mentally. No, how can you do the harm mentally? Mentally means do you want to hypnotize him using your as like in the Charles Xavier in the X-Men? You cannot do that, telepathic way. So that is verbally. Verbally means you abuse someone so that he will feel bad and then he will get some pain. Okay, that is what harm here is. Okay, so how to avoid that? So you should be in control, and you should maintain the ethical standards, and even avoid doing harm accidentally and recklessly also. Generally if you are doing the harm intentionally, that means it will create some what we call that bad impression on your nature or ethical behavior, but even try to avoid doing harm accidentally or recklessly also. Okay, and next one is the autonomy. Autonomy is the ability to do ability to act in an informed way. Informed way means you take all the inputs and you go according to your logics and take some appropriate decision. That is what the meaning of the informed means. You collect the information, you have the knowledge about everything, and then you act based on that information. Okay, largely free from coercion. This is important. Coercion is important. Autonomy. Okay, so see why this is ethical principle. See, I mixed up some of the principle related to our profession. Autonomy. See, for example, especially in the organization, when you become IAS, everything runs. If you not only IAS, if you go to any organization, everything will go according to some rules, particular rules and regulations. Okay, so you cannot influence your subordinates to favor you. Okay, you need to give them autonomy to execute their duty or their obligations in a perfect manner. Okay, in that you need to give autonomy to them. Autonomy to them, then it is called as the ethical principle. Okay, you should have that ethical principle, autonomy, giving autonomy to your subordinate, and you yourself acting autonomously without being influenced by your superiors. Okay, that is very much important, especially the profession related. And fidelity. Fidelity, this word, you remember these type of words, whichever is not so common, you remember this. Fidelity. Fidelity. See, the meaning is fulfilling the obligations and commitment. Fulfilling obligations and commitment. Okay, so for example, as a husband, what is your fidelity? So whatever you promised her, then you need to take care about that. Okay, and as a son to your parent or a daughter to your parent, what is your obligations and commitment? Okay, taking care about them or looking after them whenever they needed. And as a mother or as a father, what is your obligation? So for each and every role you have some obligations. Okay, you need to take care about that obligations and commitment. And if you are doing that, then you will call it as you have a fidelity quality, ethical principle. Okay, and if you are doing, then it is important for the basis of trust. Okay, your son, your daughter or your husband or your wife will trust you. And this is at the personal level. And coming to the work, what is the meaning of the fidelity? Fidelity means following the standard workplace practices. Okay, what are the practices there in the workplace? And respect the line of authority. That means you respect your seniors and also you treat your subordinates with dignity. Okay, and respecting this established decision making. That means according to the rules and the regulations and then procedures. Okay, don't try to tweak around it. That is the meaning of that. And no obligation, and no one can fulfill the obligation that are having the abusive assignments. Okay, so don't think that if obligation is there in any workplace that will result in abusive assignment, then you straight away can reject that. That is the meaning of that. And then after that, confidentiality. And what is the meaning of this confidentiality? This is also purely related to the professional work, profession or work. Okay, so how to decide the confidentiality? Okay, so how to decide confidentiality? And when can you, confidentiality means keeping things secretly. Okay, you are working in some company and you need to safeguard their secrets. What happens otherwise? See, when to safeguard and when to disclose, you need to take based on your discretion. And when I say the discretion, then you should go for ethical thinking also before you disclose the sensitive information of your company to the outside people. Okay, so how to decide this? The confidentiality is depending on the potential effect, origin and intent. The intent means why you are disclosing. Are you trying to damage your company name, or are you trying to expose the fraud that is being done by this company? So it's a dependent that is what intent. What is your intent? Why you are exposing that? Origin, from where it is coming, okay, and then potential effect. What are the effect? Okay, if you are exposing something and it's a benefit to the society is very very less, but the damage to the company is very very high, in that case it is not ethically correct. Okay, so here in this case I would like to tell one example. I think if I could recollect, I think last year or before last year there was a huge leak, and of course WikiLeaks is totally different, but there was a huge leak from the some submarine. Okay, some naval officer, he went to some UK or somewhere and he sold all our secret to the foreign countries. Okay, so there he undermined this confidentiality ethical principle. Okay, see, especially the confidentiality in some of the sections, some of the field, some of the organizations are very very vital. For example, if you take any army establishment or research and development or any other information that is vital for the critical infrastructure, then in that case you need to stick to this confidentiality very very what is that seriously. Okay. And then lawfulness. You might be wondering what happened to that fellow. Can India deported him, able to deport him? No, he went to UK. Don't you know that UK is a safe haven? Okay, if you do anything wrong in India, you just apply immediately visa to the UK and settle there. As like Nirvana Modi, and then who else? Lalit Modi, and one more fellow is not Modi, but he is what is name? Kingfisher, Vijay Mallya. Okay, so lawfulness. So lawfulness, to get them back, I think they have some law. They passed some law. I think you go through that. That might be important. I am unable to recollect that. That is strengthening the deportation of these type of people who intentionally running away from the India. Okay, and lawfulness. Lawfulness means duty to know. See, this is also ethical principle. You cannot say that I don't know certain law or I don't know these certain law, so that I will do whatever I want. See, in most of the countries, any person allowed only one marriage, for the majority. Okay, so you cannot marry 2-3 fellows and you can say that okay, I am illiterate, I don't know that I can marry one fellow. Or you cannot choose the stealing as your profession. Okay, you should know basic laws. Okay, that is your duty. So that is, and when you know that, you should respect those laws. Okay, you need to respect those and you act according to those laws. That is called as the lawfulness. Okay, lawfulness means you need to know these laws and act according to that. Good should not go against this. Generally, what are the laws in any country? Generally, these are constitution itself. We have formed some of the laws, and some other laws are passed in the assembly or the parliament. Those are called as the legislative laws. And then some of the sometimes executive will proclaim some of the laws or act. That is called as the what is that? Promulgated. Okay, president promulgated one law like that, whenever this is not in the session, and judicial rulings also. So you need to know about all these and act according to those. These are just some of the principles. Like this you can explain so many, but these are important things you need to remember. Why this confidentiality is important? The confidentiality is important. Why? Because these days you can see so many stealing, and apart from that there are so many whistleblowing cases. Okay, whistleblowing cases. So when to whistleblow and when to safeguard your company secrets and these resources. So there is a big debate on this. Okay, and even fidelity also important. See, for IAS point of view, knowing about points and then a little bit discussion is enough. But whereas for civil services, you need to form your own examples. You need to form and you need to able to relate everything. And here why I said fidelity also important. What is there? Fidelity is just a definition, that is in fulfilling the obligations and the commitment. That's what I have explained. But here, what is happening here? This is simply you are doing your duty, but sometimes that is not enough. There will be some conflict. If you go according to the duty in all the cases, then what is happening? There is a conflict and you may face some ethical dilemma. For example, you are a police officer. You are a police officer and some large protest is happening. Then you need to tackle that. How you do that? Okay. So according to the certain rules, when the protest is becoming more and more aggressive, then you can use your force and lethal arms also. So straight away you cannot follow. If you go according to the rule book, then you are even authorized to fire on them, fire on the crowd. But if you go according to the duty in that case, and if you open fire on the crowd, then what happens? Very huge loss of life will happen. Okay. So in that case, you should be able to think based on the situation. If you can still able to control the crowd, then no need to use any firearms there. Okay. So in that case, just going according to the rule book is not good there. Okay. You need to use some discretion. So these type of case studies will come up in the civil services. And here one more thing you need to remember here, when I said about these constitutional laws, if you observe here, we are not touching any articles or any other constitutional laws or general laws that deals with some of the ethical issues here. Why? Because that much depth is not required here in this IAS. But whereas in the civil services you need to know. For example, if you are talking about the right to freedom, in that if you are giving some example like a right to religion or something like that, then you should mention some of the articles like article 25 or something like that. Then it will become much more effective in the exam, because there we have a descriptive exam. But this is totally different. Okay, whatever the definitions are there, basic definition, you by heart it and you try to understand, so that even if it is twisted in the exam, you can be able to write very easily. Okay.